Which thank the Lord I'm not, sir. The kind of man that I would be a rugby fullback. I find touch, she finds touch, we both find touch together. We'd be alright in the middle of the night, finding touch together. If I were the marrying kind, which thank the Lord I'm not, sir. The kind of man that I would be a wing three-quarter.
I love that part the best, the wing three-quarter. This is Initiate the Contact. I am Stephen Murray, the coach Dayle Runner with me back in studio after he took his pilgrimage to Florida last week to play old man rugby at Ruggerfest. Is that what the tournament's called?
Yes,
Ruggerfest, right?
Fort Lauderdale Ruggerfest.
So we'll talk about all of that.
Is my mic working, sir?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead and talk locally.
I want to make sure it's working.
Yeah, that's good right there. We talk just like that. I got you
right.
loud and clear. This is Initiate the Contact. This is your show about rugby where you cover Major League Rugby specifically, but we like to talk about old man rugby. We like to talk about the lower division stuff as well and Six Nations stuff too. Tom Szuch, he is my former coach and teammate, but he will join us from California. He lives out there. He'll give us a good perspective on the Six Nations. We'll actually get into some of that today as they've played a couple games now in the Six Nations. We'll ask him some Major League Rugby stuff too. And, other stuff. We'll get into the rugby world a little bit with him. Let me ask you about, we'll talk, when we go down on the farm later, Dayle, we'll talk more about Newport News and the old boy rugby down there at Fort Lauderdale. But how did it go? You guys took some hardware home?
Oh, yes, we did. So this is the second tournament in a row that the 60s and over have won. We won at Saranac Lake, okay? We beat Mystic River up there twice. And down here in Florida, we beat the Florida Old Boys twice. And we played on this turf field. I tell you what, I had more scratches, I tell you. And they were both very physical games. And I enjoyed them so much. It was such a great time. My ear, as you can see, I almost got that thing decapitated because we was in a mall and Big Mike Szymanski, Kevin Sweeto, Tatanka were pushing me. And we're pulling this guy on the other side, just decided he wanted to rip my ear off. And I'm going to tell you, I was bleeding. I bet I lost a quart to a pint of blood.
Wow, so that bad. Yeah, I guess I do see it wrapped up. That really didn't cross my mind.
Oh, yeah.
When I saw you earlier, I just figured that's kind of part of the deal of how it goes with us players who still play. Exactly. Those players who still play.
Exactly.
I'm not including myself in that now, but
yeah,
maybe later.
That's okay. But what it does is it's 60 and over, right? And one of my guys, Tom, who said, we play this game as long as we can because we never know when we'll ever not be able to pitch again.
Right, exactly.
And, rugby's unique like that compared to other stuff for the most part anyway. I'm sort of crazy. I keep doing everything, basketball, wrestling, whatever. But rugby's unique as most of these guys have been playing 10 or 15 years longer than me because I didn't start till I was 30. These guys have been playing since they were 18 when they went to college. And I tell you what, man, I got to give credit to all these guys that are still playing that are over
right. Yeah,
50,
definitely.
Because one, we know what muscle soreness is. We know what we're going to feel like, but we still get out there and do it. And everybody's like, you're crazy for doing this stuff. But you know what? I'd be crazy not to do it because even though I might be have a little bit of soreness in my legs, my arms, or what have you, I'm in better shape than 90% of the people out there my age, and I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing because I feel good at it, and I love this game of rugby. So, yep, Steve, it was a great time, and we won 34-7 and 19-3, and my wife and I enjoyed the hell out of Fort Lauderdale.
Got some good beach time and stuff too?
Oh, we did, and we went to the Everglades, and, it was very unique down there, total different world down there in South Florida.
Well, we've had very Florida-like temperatures up here in Virginia.
Yeah.
To be honest, this has been the warmest February I can ever remember around here.
Yes.
That's for sure. And I think probably a lot of the
East Coast,
better part of the country has that kind of thing going on. Well, let's go ahead and recap some of the stuff that happened last week in Major League Rugby. We'll talk about a little bit about the games ahead. and then we'll get Szuch on here. We'll ask him some stuff. But last week I watched the 2 games on Friday night. Dayle, Atlanta won 17-10 over Toronto, and then New England won fairly decently over NOLA. I think it was 33-12. I think was the final there. So close,
really? I didn't
close
see
to
the
that.
game. I missed both of those.
What I really learned in the hey, I'll tell you this: the Rugby Network app is great, and they do a very good job on their play-by-play guys. Too.
Okay, good.
So it's very knowledgeable. You get the referees mic'd up as well. You get to hear the referees talking to the replay booth, and the replay booth audio as well when they're talking to the referee about when they're trying to. I think a lot of it was when they were trying to decide if there was should be a red card or a yellow card thrown and stuff like that.
Was there any snowball etiquette out there coming across the mic? Because in lower levels you always get the snowball etiquette, but in upper they might have controlled that a little bit better, I'm sure.
Right. There definitely was some underneath the pile stuff under review at one point, to be honest. So I think once a rugby player, always a rugby player. But it was kind of cool to see the coverage and good camera angles too. So I was very happy with all the games that I was able to actually watch, and I think I got a good portion of most of them. The one game I missed was Saturday afternoon with DC and Houston.
Who ended up winning that?
DC won that game 42. I'm sorry, DC and Chicago.
Okay.
42-27 was a score for that.
Oh, wow,
so a good win for the Glory there after Chicago's first game. San Diego had their way with Utah 33-17. Seattle in the rematch of the final with New York got their revenge. So good win for them. I think 25-11 was the final there. And then the last game, Houston went to Dallas. Dallas was the team that was, if you recall, Dayle, I think 0-16.
Yeah, they were really bad last year. They had a lot of stuff going on down there.
Right.
And I hope they get
they had the platform collapse with their players. They got hurt, which is kind of
crazy.
Which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
So Houston got the win there. Our picks went 2-0. We took Atlanta and Houston, so that was good in that regard. And then I think just the sum up play is everything that you would think you would see in the first week of a rugby season. Some sloppy ball, some bad passes.
Was it a lot of
mistakes?
Was it a lot of turnover rugby?
Yes.
Scoring, or was it good defense, or was it just
the teams that had the really good defense were Atlanta for sure. Seattle played good defense.
So they were really getting up
New England was
and everything and shutting them down, huh?
The New England pack looked to be the dominant pack. Of course, they only had the one opponent so far, but they had some big boys, and they just seemed to be in really good sync with each other. They had some monstrous second rows on that New England team.
How was that? I mean, you never can tell unless they just completely dominate. But how was the conditioning in the forwards? You say New England pretty much dominated, or was it more knock-ons, turnovers type thing?
That was a weird game because of the wind was a factor too. So I think that made for some sloppy lineouts. But yes, turnovers were a key part of I think all the games, to be honest. There were definitely a lot of balls lost in the ruck. Some knock-ons here and there, bad kicks out of bounds, not for necessarily good field position, and stuff like that. And really, the teams that won just made less mistakes and just played more of a sound game. I mean, shocker, right? I mean, that's how someone wins the game.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but everything you would think you would see from a week one, and the one thing that was good for Toronto, who was down 17-0, is they were able to rally with 2 late scores to only lose 17-10. And what that does is that gives them actually a bonus. That gives them a point for only losing by less than 7 points. Right? So that might be huge down the road.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll kind of put that as far as a note on things to look for. As far as the games go this week on Friday, Atlanta is at Seattle for the lone game at 10:30. On Saturday, Dallas is at Utah. That's 4 p.m. Eastern time. NOLA is at Houston at 9 o'clock. Toronto is at New York at 3 p.m. on Sunday. And then the game of the weekend probably is New England and San Diego out on the West Coast.
And what channel or what network will all these games be on?
So, yeah, actually, let me get that up. So the Rugby Network will have all of the games, but we got some games on Fox too. So let me go ahead and get that up too.
Yeah, that way we can get all our viewership and all our younger players who are just learning a game
Right.
to watch these games. If you can take one thing out of an 80-minute match and you're a brand new player, you'd have done something. Because one thing about this game is so unique. Every match you play, you learn something new. It's like, man, I knew that, but I didn't know that. You know, it sounds crazy. Mm-hmm. Most people wouldn't admit what I'm saying because they think they know everything about the game, but they really don't. So, you know, like when you're in open play and, you know, you're getting people to the rucks and, you know, you always hear people don't get no more than 3 in there, which you don't want a lot of people in there because then you have nobody to play defense. Okay, then you don't have nobody to set up on offense. So you have to stress this stuff. The elementary stuff is what you have to stress to your rugby players, even if you're at a higher level, because at higher levels, you know, a lot of times they take this game for granted. And then they have all these missteps. And like Steve was saying earlier, in some of these tight games, they were making them kind of mistakes because they took it for granted. When you make a mistake like that, they, you know, if you're at the professional level, they're going to make you pay for it.
Right.
So that's why the way I coach, I want to make sure we're in shape, we can tackle, and we're in correct position all the time. Because you can learn a different system under any team. But those 3 things will be on every single team.
It really is the one sport where you better have your fundamentals down.
You've got to have the fundamentals
because you're going to get burned.
You'll get burned.
And if you're not in the right position either, then you're toast.
You're fried.
You're fried.
Fried. Yes, sir.
How many teams have you seen, like, of rookies? You get them all lined up on defense, and next thing you know, there's a ruck, and they're all standing behind it looking at it.
That's a great question. There's 2 things I'm going to bring up real quick. It won't take too long.
Right.
So last spring, we had 7 rookies start. And where we got burned was on the outside. So what happened was, like me, you know, not to brag or nothing to put my ego out there because I already got enough. But if I get burned on something, I'm gonna make the adjustment. So if a guy's faster than me, he's outrunning me to the side, then I'm gonna slide over. But not every player that comes out to play rugby understands them concepts. So as a coach, I have to teach these players that. So we have to get everybody in simonious, acrimonious, whatever word you want to use, to get them flat line across. That way they don't get burned and outran. So what happened last year, we lost 3 matches in the spring on that. And you know what? Those 3 teams exposed us on that. So I corrected that. None of those teams will beat me again on that. I know everybody's like saying, yeah, unless you get New Zealand or South African players, you will not beat me on that. I don't care what level you're at. Because I corrected that. Because that's a basic fundamental of first grade. So I need all my players to make the adjustments on that. So if you're out of shape, with 20 minutes left in the game, you can't get in correct position. And obviously, if you're out of shape, how are you going to tackle? You're going to stand up and grab. You're not going to get in correct form. So I'm going to beat that to death all day. And if I can do that, man, I'm going to stay in every match.
Yeah, it's so important. You can literally, if you don't know rugby, and that's kind of, I think, why I actually had a really decent career for myself, not trying to toot my own horn now, is that the one thing that I told myself is you're going to find your way on defense first, and that's where you're going to make yourself known on defense. And the one thing is, this guy ain't going to get by me. No matter what happens, this guy ain't going to get by me.
That's right.
And, traditionally with the Falcons back in the day, whoever the wingers were, I would always peel them aside as teammates or whatever. And I'd say, look, man, I don't care what happens, but I don't care if you have the spider monkey on this guy.
That's right.
Whatever you got to do not let him get by you.
Let him get around.
Challenge yourself to be the best defender on the wing. People think of wingers as scoring threats, but if you have 2 defensive wingers,
you got to have the defense out there because you're not going to lose on offense.
Right.
You're going to lose on defense.
Right.
Because we're not going to be on offensively every day. Every team's going to have, some teams will have a good defense, some teams not. So it depends on what they're coaching. So, like you said, Steve, that is a great thing. My wingers have to be able to tackle. I can't let them get outside and burn me. That's not going to happen. And if the guy is getting burned like that, I'm looking for the next player to step in and take his position. Because if we can tighten that rope up right there, we're going to keep it inside. We're going to play 10-man rugby. 10-man rugby is so effective in Division II and Division III. Me and Johnny Law, talk about that all day. If you keep that ball in tight, you maintain possession. Shoot, man. I know it sounds crazy. It's that simple, though. It really is. The fundamentals of the game. You need them 3 basic fundamentals right there. Now, you got the maul, you got the scrummaging. That's more team concept work. But individual concepts, you got to have that before you have the team concept, if that makes sense. Because if I don't know how to ruck, then I can't help my team out. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
If my wings and outside center don't know how to get in the correct position, they can't help the team out. We're not going to have one player be able to chase down 60 people all day. It's just not happening. So that's a great point, man. Good stuff.
Yeah. And so get back to the TV question that you had. All the games this week for the Major League Rugby will be on the Rugby Network, except the one game that's on national TV will be Saturday night at 9:00, and that is the Houston and NOLA game.
Is that on Fox?
Fox Sports 2.
Fox Sports 2.
All right, so get your team and get everyone out there. Get your teams to tune into that. Everyone can always learn some more rugby when you're a young player. Zooch might want to talk some high school rugby stuff too. He said so. We'll get into that with him. Yeah. I'd be interested to see what he's got to say about some of that. Actually, let's see. Anything else with Major League Rugby we need to be aware of? I guess I can look at the standings real quick just so you can know that offhand. And I should have a graphic up here. In fact, what I'll do next week is I'll go ahead and get the graphic up for the standings. So it's just stuff we can post.
So, Steve, a little bit of rugby knowledge for younger players and average players that have been playing 7 or 8 years might not know this. Okay. So 2 definitions we hear all the time. He has so many caps. What does that mean?
That games played for the side.
Games played for the side. Yep. Okay. And then the other one is in the forwards, right? Like if it's other teams put in and we win that and they say we're taking it off the head, what does that mean exactly?
Stealing the scrum down, rolling. Which is they make it harder nowadays, right? It's not like when we used to be when we kind of played when we were younger, because it was fair game as a prop. You could hook it back with as a prop and everything like that. And I remember that would be one thing we try to pride ourselves on is trying to steal, taking it off the head.
Everybody wants offensive rugby, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna stress it. This is one disagreement John and I have as far as talking, but he knows I'm right on this one as far as defense. I'm gonna stress it because if my defense shuts down the other team, our offense is going to score eventually because they're going to get frustrated and get out of position. You don't get tired on offense. You get tired on defense. Mm-hmm. So if I can keep my team in shape and I can frustrate that team over there to get completely frustrated offensively, I'm going to take full advantage of it. I'm using the psychology of the game, brother. And that's what I've been doing the last 7 games. And that's why we've been averaging 56 points. And I'm going to hopefully continue that this Saturday. I don't know what Rappahannock has. We might get humbled. We don't know. We might go out there.
And they're a higher side, a higher division than you guys, Dayle. And then
Tyler Stevens is running that team, I believe.
He's a former Falcon, yeah.
Yes, he is. Yep. And we lost to him about 20 up there last year. But I had 7 rookies. I don't have that this year. Now, I don't know what they have, as far as talent-wise. I really didn't pay attention. I was just so frustrated with what we had. I didn't get into what they had. But you never know what another team has because that changes all the time in rugby. It's not like your normal sports, if you get what I'm saying. So I have to work and make us the best we can.
If Hunter is going to be an animal at center, best be assured about that. He used to play for the Falcons too.
Hunter Benson?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I imagine he'll be playing for them, but he'll be a monster. So the thing is, he's strong. This guy deadlifts 500 plus pounds and stuff like that. So you guys have to
Yeah, I know Hunter.
be prepared to tackle him and really hold on to that wrap or something.
10-year-old, for us, Brandon, he squats and deadlifts over 5.
Yeah, good. All right, cool.
He is 10-year-old, man. That guy's so strong. He's been playing. Him and Jose have been playing since high school.
Yeah.
Jose's, him and 10-year-old can play Division I or Super League if they, wanted to really go after it.
Uh-huh.
They have that kind of ability, them two kids do. And they're still only 27. So we got them, forever. And they, I just love having both of them. They've been under my wings ever since they were kids. And that's all we can do, man, is just keep pushing them. My whole team was in the weight room for 3 months after the fall season. And now I'm running them to death. They got a lot of lactic acid out of them. We're just going to be interesting Saturday. We're going to see what's up.
Okay. Yeah. I'm excited for this. I'm going to have to try to rally out there, Dayle.
We got a B-side match against C&U as well.
Interesting.
Yes, sir.
That sounds like something I could lace up for, to be honest.
You can come out here and play it. We need some big bodies.
I like playing the college kids. I can beat up on them.
That's right.
The standings. Here's how it works, Dayle.
Okay.
Points wise.
Yes, sir.
4 points if you get a win. 2 points for a draw. 0 if you lose. You get 1 bonus point if you lose by 7 points or fewer, as we talked about with Toronto.
Okay.
And you get 1 try bonus point. So you get 1 point extra if you get 4 tries or more. So Houston has 5 points. They are in top of the Western Conference, with San Diego actually with 5 points. Of course, this is just all after week 1. Seattle earned 4, and Chicago, Utah, Dallas all with 0. Dallas with the worst point differential right now at a -21. And
it really is not that bad.
Really. Actually, in the game where they could have, if it was last year, would have been a lot worse. So it looks like they're getting their feet back under them. They're should hopefully get a win here at some point soon. Winnable game this week, actually. They play Utah right above them here. So that's one of the games I left out when we were talking about the games coming up. But Utah will host Dallas. In the Eastern Conference, New England and DC both get their 5 points. Rugby Atlanta gets 4 in their win. Toronto just with the 1 point that they gained. New York and NOLA with 0 points. Okay, so that's that. Again, the Fox Sports game will be the game Saturday night, Houston hosting NOLA. All the other games, go ahead and get on the Rugby Network, and everything is at the bottom of the ticker. All the scores from round 1, the games coming up for round 2 as well. So let's go ahead and take a break. We'll play a few commercials. Hang in there tight, everyone who is out there. Don't let the commercials scare you away. And we'll get Tom Szuch on here in just a few minutes. And we will talk Six Nations, some more Major League Rugby, some other rugby stuff too. So this is Initiate the Contact, broadcasting live from the beautiful shoreline of Virginia Beach, Virginia, the United States of America. Coach Dayle Runner in the house with me. We'll be back right after this.
Passing out together. If I were the marrying kind, which thank the Lord I'm not, sir, the kind of man that I would be a rugby fly half. I'd whip it out, she'd whip it out, we both whip it out together. We'd be all right in the middle of the night, whipping it out together. If I were the marrying kind, which thank the Lord I'm not, sir, the kind of man that I would be a rugby scrum half. I put it in, she put it in, we both put it in together. We'd be all right in the middle of the night, putting it in together.
Does your home have algae or stains on the siding? Is there grime built up on your deck or brick patio? Coastal Pressure Washing Services has a warranty of professional services. From pressure washing to window cleaning to deck and fence staining, as well as dryer vent cleaning, you got it all. Call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.com. washing.net. Again, call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net.
Tired of your swimming pool's diatomaceous earth pool filter? The constant cleaning, green pool, cloudy water? I thought this was supposed to be clean. Trust your swimming pool's water quality with a custom sand filter install. A clean, easy solution for your swimming pool operations. Contact Dependable Solutions at 757-354-5517. Do you want to advertise with Deep End Broadcasting? Send us an email at deepend757@yahoo.com. That's deepend757@yahoo.com.
Know your gambling limits. Don't ever bet what you can't cover. Wagering on sports is only fun when you do it the right way. Not every bet will win. When you get on a bad run, know it and avoid trouble. Know your gambling limits.
Control your alcohol. Don't fight. Don't drink and drive. Your one punch could kill someone. It happens. If you're behind the wheel, you may think you are fine, but then the other driver is under the influence of texting, and then you are done. Control your alcohol.
Family owned and operated, CP Shuckers Cafe and Raw Bar specializes in delicious cuisine, refreshing drinks, and a laid-back atmosphere. We opened our doors in 1995 and have enjoyed being a place to either relax or celebrate ever since. Whether you are in the mood to indulge in a great meal with your friends and family or watch the game, we promise that our inventive menu, attentive service, and skilled bartenders will have you truly satisfied. Both of our locations have spacious outdoor patios for enjoying the breeze and catching a little sun. Our friendly staff at CP Shuckers will make your next dining experience a pleasant one by delivering personal care. We are open until 2 a.m. Full menu will be served until 10 p.m. and late night limited menu until 1 a.m. For larger parties, please give the location of choice a call. Pacific Avenue, 757-425-8676 or Shore Drive, 757-412-2929. More information at cpshuckers.com. Thank you for your continued support and have a shucking good time. Tired of your swimming pool's diatomaceous earth pool filter? The constant cleaning, green pool, cloudy water? I thought this was supposed to be clean. Trust your swimming pool's water quality with a custom sand filter install. A clean, easy solution for your swimming pool operations. Contact Dependable Solutions at 757-354-5517.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
If I were the marrying kind, which thank the Lord I'm not, sir, the kind of man that I would be a rugby scrum half. I put it in, she put it in, we both put it in together. We'd be all right in the middle of the night, putting it in together.
This is Initiate the Contact. I am Stephen Murray with the coach Dayle Runner. This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network and your coverage of everything Major League Rugby and beyond. And we will get a little bit beyond right now. On the line with us from California, we have on my former teammate and coach. Met this guy, Dayle, about 12:15 in the morning at Crocs at Dollard Corona night. And lo and behold, he became the head coach of the Virginia Beach Falcons soon after. And our relationship has been strong ever since. So about 20 years ago now, I think, right, Tom? Tom Szuch joining us from California. How's it going, Tom?
Good. How you doing there, Steve?
All right, cool. Say hi to Coach Dayle, too.
What's up there,
Hey,
buddy?
Dayle, how you doing, man?
Oh, I can't complain. Can't get paid for it.
Szuch, let's talk real. I want to get into a few things with you first, but we haven't talked too much Six Nations on the two episodes that we've had. So we'll get into a little bit of that with you because I know you've been watching those games. Let me just kind of recap what's happened. I'll go all the way back to the beginning of February on that first Saturday, the 4th, where Ireland beat Wales 34-10. A good game where Scotland beat England 29-23. That's probably the match of the tournament so far. Good game the next day, too, Sunday. France beat Italy 29-24. So the Italians much improved. Ireland, 32-19 winners over France. In the second round of games, Scotland beat Wales 35-7. So they are on fire. And England beats Italy 31-14. They've now taken a whole week off. That's probably why we didn't talk about them much last week with our first show focusing on the Major League Rugby the first week. But here we are. We got another round of games starting Saturday at 7:15 a.m. Eastern. We have Italy and Ireland. We have Wales and England, and then France and Scotland on Sunday morning. Tom, you've been into the tournament so far. How about Scotland? What can you say about this Scottish team who have traditionally been somewhat towards the bottom of the standings whenever they get this Six Nations tournament going on? But here they are now 2-0, and they look really, really good. What about them?
They're dangerous. They look great. I mean, to come out with wins against Wales and England at the beginning of this tournament, the way they played, I thought Ireland was going to walk through this, but I got real concerned with Scotland. They're looking good. See how they play against France this weekend.
The Scotland Irish game will play the next round of games, which will take another week off after this week. And then on March the 12th on a Sunday, we'll get the Scotland and Ireland game. It would be nice if they both go to 3-0 for that one, right? That'd be kind of fun. What else he taken out of this tournament so far?
Just a lot of great rugby. It's hard to believe that you look at things right now in World Rugby rankings and you have Ireland sitting at number one. It's just, it's been New Zealand forever, and South Africa's been up there, but nobody ever pictures Ireland up there. Scotland's moving up the list. England's up there. It's great rugby being played right now in Six Nations.
Go ahead.
I've always been down on Italy, but I got to tell you, Italy looks to be playing with their hearts this year, and they're staying in the game. It's great to see.
Yeah, so it's not now more of a level playing field a little bit, where it was kind of a bigger gap amongst the talent of these sides in previous years and decades, really. Now, and everyone's really kind of, well, we'll talk about the United States here in a little bit, but these teams are really finding their way, who've been kind of one of the, lower bottom teams. They're kind of starting to level things out, make things more competitive, and that's just going to make the game better, right?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. My concern, the game's being played great right now all over the world, except for the USA. My concern is where they're going to go with the rules. I don't know if you've seen much on what they're looking at as far as tackling goes, and they're introducing it to school and college over in Europe right now with all tackles below the waist. Mm-hmm. If that comes to the pro level, and there's been talk of it, I think it's going to hurt our game. So we hope not to see that there.
Okay, Tom, so when you say tackle below the waist level, okay, so it's always below the lower chest to the, above the knee, obvious. Why are they trying to go down that far? What is the reasoning behind it? Who came up with that, or was it a collective thing?
Collective thing in Europe. They felt it was more head injuries have happened over the past couple of years, and they think it's going to eliminate the head injuries or reduce them. But anybody who's played at a higher level, or anybody who's played any rugby at all, I think would know more injuries come from the knee and the thigh area being hit on the head than they do from the chest area or the midsection area.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I think some of the tackles that have hurt me the most are when I'm wrapping the guy down around the legs lower and he's still moving his legs through my arms and rubbing his knees against my head and stuff like that. I feel like I'm better off with my shoulder in his gut or his upper chest at times, rather than diving and getting my ear ripped off like Coach Dayle here.
Yeah. Johnny Law and George just played 60 and over down in Fort Lauderdale this last weekend. And, the older you get, technique and everything goes out the window pretty much. I've been pretty fortunate, never had no major injuries other than nagging stuff. But, I just don't see it where it's going to last, because here's my thing with it. When you have to tackle at the waist to the knees, what it does is it's going to make you start thinking. And what's going to happen is when you think, before you make contact, you're gonna have injuries there, because I know it sounds oxymoron, but when you're standing around thinking and waiting, that's when all the injuries happen. So,
No, exactly right.
so you're going to have to start it at the lower level. So it's going to take a generation for that to come in, if you get what I'm saying. Am I making sense?
Yep. Yes, definitely.
Tom, I mean, how about that though too? I mean, it's just not now if they're talking this kind of rule. I mean, progressively, they've been trying to make sports safer. And I mean, I don't know. There was something cool about back in the day when we had to jump for the line out ourselves and not have some guy lift us up 20 feet in the air to try to get the ball. You know, when you get in the scrums, when you were able to fight for the put in instead of the scrum half basically rolling it into the second row's feet, you know, to give the defense no chance whatsoever. Talk about that and the evolution of the game in the last 20, 25 years.
You know, Steve, the evolution of the game, it's great to see the crowds there and the people still behind it. But as you mentioned there, you talk to any other old timer, we all miss those days, man. I hate to see the scrums today. Granted, they're safer on the neck and you don't have the neck injuries there, but there's no technique in the scrum. The props lost all ability to fight, arm fight replacement. It's terrible. It used to be important to get in low and fast. Now you can't. The ref puts them together nice and easy, and you see the bigger guys as props now because they don't have to do anything else. Maintain that straight line. You can't crab. You can't take. They've taken a lot away from the game, in my opinion.
Yeah. So what is basically coming down to, like this feeding thing, okay? Back in, just a couple of years ago, man, they were all against that, man. Like, now it's like, man, they want you to feed them the whole smorgasbord. It's like, come on, man. That's why the position hooker is what it is. I mean, and I don't see where that's unsafe, if you get what I'm saying, because long as you're keeping it tight, that's what the referee's there for, the discretion of the scrum to keep it up.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
So why would you?
Dayle,
I'm just saying, man, I'm thinking logically here. Okay. So if you got people that are out of shape, you're going to have more injuries than these guys that are in shape. So
that's right.
I mean, you're always going to have a freak accident. Let's be real. Anytime you do athletics, it don't matter what it is. But that's what the referee's there to make sure that the guy doesn't pull him under or, barge, whatever it is. But let's be real. Sometimes they can overcompensate, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. It's terrible to see the put-ins on the line and on the scrums now. I mean, they're fed. Every ball is fed.
Everyone.
There's no hooking anymore. The front row is the technique of the game. I know you guys remember back in the 80s and early 90s and stuff, the early World Cups, all your props were in their 30s. All the forwards were in their 30s, or the front row was in their 30s. Now they're 23, and they don't need to have that knowledge. It took years to build that knowledge up and feel what the scrum felt like in there. Now it's easy to fill a guy in.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, because you really did learn your lumps through the position and learning the position, and although prop is head to head too, I mean, you're going to think about second row too. I mean, you're in there top five, tight five, and you got to get, balls to the ground to get low and stuff. So you had to learn your reps as well there. And, you get your head squashed half the time as well, right? So, but yeah, that is just kind of sad to see if you see the importance of those positions just kind of getting nullified overall because of the new thoughts of the game and how it should be safer. Yeah, and I think you make a great point, Dayle. I mean, on the same note of like maybe there's too much pharmaceutical drugs in this world it hurts the world. Why? You're going to do too much to make it safer, but you're really not. You're making it actually much worse.
Yeah. So the reason, everything, it doesn't matter what sport it is. Okay. Everybody, it's sad because I'm a defensive guy, just like in baseball. I want no hitters. one hitters, that kind of thing. But the average person wants to see 5 or 6 home runs. You know, my thing is you have to work at defense. You have to constantly be in shape to work at defense, regardless of what it is. On offense, you don't get tired. That's what I try to tell people. So, but the average fan wants to see a score like in football, let's say like 48-45. How about 10-7? You know,
Right.
why? But why don't they promote that? You know what I'm saying? That's why it just drives me nuts. Like ESPN, when they talk this junk, I want it to be defensive struggles where these players are working hard to earn their keep and earn their victories. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I mean, how about that, Tom? We had that tit final against Norfolk where we won 12-10, right? And that was just nothing but it was a great game in the sense that it was just super physical and defense, and you had to earn. You had to earn your points in that game, and I think that's. Just talk about that and rugby. What Dayle said too. They're talking about wanting more offense, but how special was it to actually get a try? Right, kind of give us the old school mentality on scoring, earning the score versus being, fed the ball to easy scores nowadays. Give us some thoughts on that, Tom.
I'm trying to come up with something there, Steve. The scoring. I think the referees, the laws of the game have changed. It's made it easier to score. It's not the players or anything. I think the tackling is still taught in rugby great, and you still have the hard playing and the hard hits there. It's just that the referees change it around to make it easier to score on. I do agree with you. When you made those scores, it was special. The team came together, feeling that it's hard to explain. But they play to the fans. The fans want to see the high scores. Like Dayle said there, that's what they're giving them.
Well, how do you see the rest of the Six Nations playing out? Do you think Ireland takes it all? Do you think they win the Grand Slam?
My money's on Ireland. I wouldn't be disappointed to see Scotland do something. I was on the phone with a buddy of mine from Edinburgh the other day. He's, a huge Scottish fan from there, and he's more excited. He's like, it's the most excited I've been since the 70s for Scottish rugby. So he's stoked on that. I will be in Ireland on the 18th of March. I'm trying to find tickets for the Ireland-England game in Dublin, me and my wife. So we'll see what happens there. Keeping my fingers crossed. I've reached out to a lot of old boys and people I know that played the Irish Rugby Union. And all the tickets are allocated to rugby teams over there, and they disperse them out. They don't even go on sale yet.
Right.
So if the teams have leftovers, they turn them in and they go on sale. So we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Have you ever been to Ireland on St. Paddy's Day?
No, this will be my first trip to Ireland, period. I've never been to Ireland.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Oh, wow. I've been to all of them, being retired Navy. I went to all of them, and I played the first international game I ever played. I played some in Holy Lock. And,
right.
What was crazy? It was like, I haven't been playing but maybe a year and a half at the time. And the guy goes, how many years you been playing? I said, man, I just started a year and a half ago. He goes, you really picked up the game really quick. I said,
oh, yeah.
I was like, I appreciate all the compliments, man, but I got a lot to learn in this game. It's very, I don't know the words I'm really trying to use, but it's like, gosh, Johnny Law, when he called me out to get me to come out and play rugby, I don't know if you know the story behind Johnny Law getting me to come out and play rugby, but he talked me to death for about 3 weeks. John was an MM1, I was a BM1, and we were at Simmon together. And he was like, have you ever played rugby? I told him, no, I didn't know nothing about it, because I was playing flag football, I was playing quarterback in these leagues and all this. So he finally came up to me, make a long story short, and I won't use the words he said, but, John be talking that junk, and he goes, being one runners, is a B and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh, no, man, he messed with my ego. So I had to go out there that Thursday night and practice. He goes, we're playing an Ed Lee Cup Saturday. I go, what the heck is Ed Lee Cup? So I went up there and played 4 matches that weekend and fell in love with the game. And I mean, so now 28, 29 years later, I'm still in love. I was like 93, 94, somewhere around that area. But
Tom, tell us your rugby story from how you started to play.
I was in Australia in '87. I was on the opposite coast of you, Dayle. I was in the Navy, and on the Midway, we pulled into Australia. We had a day of sports. We played a game of American football, Aussie rules football, and then rugby. And that was my first experience for the game, and I loved it. And I had a little break in between, couldn't find any. We were at sea all the time. Got to Hawaii and started playing seriously there. And '97 picked up for my first year All Navy, and competed on All Navy till 2002.
Okay, cool, man. I wish I'd known about it earlier in my time. There's just timing was on that thing. You know what I'm saying?
No, definitely. So played out of Hawaii for quite a while with the Harlequins and then the Orcas and.
Talk about the Harlequins for a second, Tom. I mean, have you been around rugby long enough around here that you've heard of the Hawaii Harlequins? But how tell us about your experience there, how your teammates were, what the atmosphere was like, how much fun you guys had. Go ahead and give a little bit something about that so the audience has a feel.
It was great, man. I wouldn't trade those days for anything. I remember getting to the island and going out to the Harlequins and playing my first game in Maui. And we're on the plane ride over to Maui, and all the Tonga guys are telling me, "Oh man, you're gonna get false crack, brother. You're gonna get false crack." I was like, "What's a false crack?" They're like, "Sucker punch, bro, sucker punch." They're like, "Why am I gonna get sucker punched?" Because you're the Howley, man. So got out of the field, and sure enough, about 3 scrums, my nose is bleeding, my lips are bleeding, and I jacked the prop against me coming out of that 4th scrum, and he's like, "Hey, man, not me. My arm's bound like you." I was like, "Oh, yeah."
That's funny.
That second row was reaching through and just clobbering me, man. I stood my ground and gained the respect of the Islanders. And then to be out there then, once you're in with the local guys, man, it was baby luau's and Papa drink ups and just great rugby. I played on the island select side for 3 years. The only Howley guy on the team. And played in the Vegas Blackjacks tournaments and on the West Coast out here. It was phenomenal.
Oh, sweet. Okay. So how did you meet John? Johnny Lawrence. John Lawrence. How'd you?
During Newport News, man. One of the first times I got into Norfolk. So when I first got to Norfolk, I came from Hawaii. I was going to run with the Blues. Went out, ran a couple practices with them, and I'll keep this story short, but blew out a knee. Don't want to say any ill will to them, how much I love Norfolk. And going through my knee surgery, met Steve, as he mentioned, at Crocs, and he asked me to come play with the beach. I said, "Well, I'm just had knee surgery. I'm out for a while." He's like, "What's your background?" I told him. He's like, "You want to coach the team?" And that's how it started. And then first time against Newport News, that's when I met John, and became good friends with John ever since then.
Oh, okay. Because me and John, we started playing together about 94, somewhere around that.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's been a long journey with him. I'm the head coach and president of Newport News now. And John is my backs coach. And I got this guy, Mark Fisher from Seven Rivers, my forwards coach. We went 5-0 in the fall. We averaged 56 points a game. And we're trying to do something over there. I'm trying to move up another division in the next year. So we're doing pretty good right now. We got 30 to 35 out there, and it's not easy, but you got to do a lot of work off site to make this happen, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh, definitely, Dayle. That's awesome. I wish you guys the best, man, for sure. They couldn't have 2 better people, you and Johnny Law, involved with that organization, man. I great deal of respect for both of you guys. And I did see online that you guys were playing down in Florida. I was a little jealous, man. I just had my second knee replacement. I'm trying to play in a World Masters event in Hawaii next year. So I'm trying to get all these nagging injuries fixed and get in shape to get on the field a little bit more out there next year.
Yeah, I seen the World Masters. I just got on that page the other day. Dan Sorrentino, he put me on there. I'm looking at Dan Santino, however you pronounce his name. He's down in Miami, Fort Lauderdale area.
Right.
But yeah, I'm thinking about doing that because I'll be 61 October. John will be 61 December. And
that's awesome.
you know, George, he just turned 61 in February.
Right.
So
Right.
we all went down there, the Newport News gang, and we pretty much, John played great defense. He can't run like he wants to because he's getting ready to have hip surgery on the 3rd.
Yeah.
So he's struggling on that. But I tell you what, he played some great defense and he rucked really well. And me and George, I played 8-man and George played scrum, and we just sort of were in better shape, and that's how we won both those games.
That's awesome, man. There's nothing better than this game. We played the greatest game on earth, man.
You ain't lying.
Until they change all the rules once and for all.
That's right. That's right.
Let me ask you about Major League Rugby, Tom. I know you haven't seen much. Well, we only had the 1 week of games, so there's not like there's been a lot to watch, right? But now in its 6th year, what do you think of the growth of the game of the Major League Rugby? I mean, it's kind of nice that they're in their 6th year right now. I think that says something for them that they've lasted that long. But what do you think of Major League Rugby right now, where they stand, how they've grown, and how do you think they'll proceed in the future? What do you see in your crystal ball?
You know, it's great to see, and I watched the San Diego Utah game this past weekend. I haven't seen any of the other games, and I was a little let down with Utah's play. San Diego looks good. I hear a lot of hype on San Diego. I think they're going to be the pick to win it all. The stadium they're playing in is beautiful. There's money going into it. They're playing on Fox Sports 2 and, getting some play on some bigger channels, which is good to see. I just hope, and I know we've brought in a lot of ex-internationals, over-the-hill internationals to play over here. I see the good in that. I think that's fine. It pulls older rugby players out to the game to watch the game and watch it at home on TV. But we gotta build our stars. We gotta start hopping our guys. And,
yes.
Getting on the bus with our guys. In order to do that, USA Rugby. I mean, we're a tier 2 team in the world right now. We're not of any prominence. We're not even in the World Cup this year, which is
crazy.
a sad thing. And what we need to do is, I just think they need to start recruiting at the lower levels. They got to look at D3, D2, D1 teams. We have guys that have to travel a long way to get into it. They have to recruit out in these other areas, the rural areas, to bring these guys in.
See, Tom, you make a great point right now. I'm going to bring up something. So when Johnny Law, George, and Mike Toole, who passed away, God bless them, we started playing old boys. This is what I learned more about rugby than anything. That you had Super League, Division 1, 2, and 3. The Division 1 and Super League, most of those people really, the only reason they're at them levels, not all of them now, don't get me wrong, hear me out. Most of them could afford to play at that level. Whereas you got guys at Division 3. I got a guy right now, Jose Rogers, who is as athletic as anybody at the higher levels, but he doesn't have the finances to go there. So the recruiting part, because we don't do it, you don't get paid in this sport like the 4 majors. So we got talent at the lower levels, but these people, don't even get me started with USA Rugby, okay? But with the BS and everything, because I'm all about, you need to hold people accountable. These people don't do no off-site work at all. None. So like you just said it best. Why aren't we getting these players from lower levels and going and looking at it? If they want USA Rugby to be in the top 5 in the world, come on, man, we got 330 million people in this country. That's more than all these other 6 nations combined. You gonna tell me they got more athletes than we do? Even with 4 major sports? Come on, man, get real. Why ain't we getting these players out there? You're not gonna sit here and tell me there's no way I can sit here and you can tell me that just because you play New Zealand, yeah, you start rugby when you're 4 or 5. I get it. Okay, they got 8 million on the whole island. You're gonna tell me that they got more athletes there than we do in the whole USA, and we can't get better?
That's exactly right.
Come on, man.
We don't.
Yeah, talk about that, Tom. Go ahead.
I've coached guys in the past that I know would have made the Eagles team. Played with guys that I know could have played on the Eagles team, and none of them ever got an opportunity because they didn't play for the right teams.
That's crazy.
And,
That's crazy.
that's what it came down to. They recruited the likes of Cal and recruited this Old Blue in California and Belmont and a few other teams out in California, a couple on the East Coast, and that was it.
So they could, yeah.
I think you're starting to see it a little bit though, with so that the Capitol has their select side, which
Right.
that's looked at by the DC Glory. I mean, they're looking for players from that pool of players, and really anyone from any of these teams can try out for that team, that select team, right? So I feel like that door is opening some, but yes, it shouldn't be up to the player to kind of make him get that far. There should be some type of recruiting pool, like you said, Tom. And with USA Rugby, I think we could. I mean, come on, people, they went bankrupt, right?
Yeah.
At one point, come on.
Several times.
Yeah.
Even the '90s, I was playing with the Harlequins out there, and we had former 2B All Blacks on our team and former All Blacks. We had Polynesian internationals. This is all in the Hawaii Rugby Union out there. But the Hawaii Rugby Union wasn't in good standing with the USA Rugby Union. So they recruited no players off the island. In '98, the Eagles played Japan in Honolulu. And we were the warm-up team for the Eagles. They practiced with us, and then we had a scrimmage game against them. Our pack blew the Eagles out of the water, man. And I don't know, if I was an Eagle at that time, I would have been embarrassed, man. But all the Hawaiian guys are like, "Oh, I know we could beat the Eagles, man. I know we could."
And that's all. Wow.
It was something.
That's crazy. Because you know what? Think about it. Like, okay, let's take a team like Central Washington or, Arkansas State. They got great rugby players, but yet, how many of them have ever tried out for USA Rugby? I bet ain't nobody can tell you. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's BYU or Cal or Arizona, right? Something like this. Right, Tom? They have their USA Rugby plays favorites, right, Tom?
They 100% do. And, I will say this, Stevie, you just hit on it, man. Collegiate rugby is looking really good right now.
Okay.
Dayle being a Navy guy, man, the Naval Academy now is a varsity sport there as of last year?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Navy's ranked #1 in collegiate power rankings right now. Their spring schedule's getting underway. They play Cal, I think, in 3 weeks.
Okay.
But right now, they're #1 in collegiate D1 rugby.
Yeah, I know.
Army's #5, Cal's #4, man.
Yeah, they beat Norfolk. I think it was last year before last. It was like 105-5 or something.
Right.
And,
right.
all they did was just beat them on straight speed.
Yep.
Straight speed. But hey.
But along with the clubs, man, I think in the past, as Steve said, man, it was always out of Cal and St. Mary's and BYU. We got to look at these other colleges, man. We got great athletes there.
Yeah, really. I mean, come on. You take, let's just, for math's sake, let's just say 100 players in them 3 places, if that. Okay, now you're going to tell me the rest of these people ain't got players? I mean, think about it. They're not, I'm not a genius, but if you're going to recruit and you want to get to the top of the level, you got to go look at these other places.
Right.
Come on, man. Because look at the NFL draft, right? So you can get a guy from Hofstra to be the last pick in the draft, and this guy can be a Hall of Famer. So if rugby did that, think about what we could do in the world.
Do they not have any kind of scouting department for USA Rugby? Do that actual scouts like pro teams would have? You would think that with you want to talk crazy numbers? How about this, Dayle? I mean, we're going to talk high school. We're going to talk about college. We'll talk about men's teams, women's teams. We're going to talk every team that pays USA Rugby a SIP fee of $80 a year or whatever it is now. I don't know how much it is. Multiply that number times the actual teams and players. It's an astronomical number, which, one, I don't know how you go bankrupt when you have that kind of money coming in. Let's be honest.
Right.
But two, you can't fund some kind of scouting department to make the team better. Does that even exist, Tom, that you know of?
I do not know what they're doing if they're doing any scouting, Steve, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do anything. Just go off
Right.
words of the old boys that they have out there. But I can't say that for a fact, man.
All right.
Interesting stuff. All right, Tom, what else? You got some high school rugby thoughts or anything like that?
Yeah, Dayle, you guys still got that high school program going on over on your side of the water over there?
Okay, we don't have it going on right now, but we're going to try to start it back up next fall. We're going to look into see what we can do. So George and then a couple other people are going to look into see if we can, get that going again.
That's awesome. You guys had a great deal going on over there.
Yeah, we were trying to get it going. It was tough.
Well, COVID didn't help things when that happened. The COVID hurt a lot of rugby, right? I mean,
right. Well, I was out here. I live like where I'm at right now in Rockland. I have 5 other Harlequins around me that I played with. Almost my whole pack is right near me. It's really cool, man.
oh, nice.
So one of our buddies, his son's going to Jesuit high school, and Jesuit was always ranked in the top 10 in the country every year for high school rugby. Dayle in the Bay Area is another one that's in the top 10 all the time. So we went and watched some round rugby 2 weeks, round robin, 4 teams preseason play. Bishop, something out of Oakland, St. Francis out of the Bay Area, De La Salle out of the Bay Area, and then Jesuit here. And these kids went out there and played hard. I was impressed, man. And then this past weekend, we went down to Mountain View, which is a couple hours away, and watched St. Francis play De La Salle. St. Francis's first year of high school rugby, and they beat the number 2 team in the country.
Oh, wow.
Phenomenal rugby. Mostly Polynesian kids. I was shocked at the mixture of the kids that they had out there, but great rugby. You get a chance to see some high school rugby. I know you were involved with it, Dayle, but man, just watching these kids play, and they were like sponges out there, listening to their coaches. It was great.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool that you have it on such a good level out there.
Stuff like that gives you hope, and then that's
Right.
on the high school varsity side. You also have club side, and right where I'm at was the number 2 ranked team in the country. It's Granite Bay.
Oh, that's interesting. So they actually play varsity side, and they also have some club teams as well.
Yeah, so a lot of the schools around here can't support a varsity club.
Right.
So to be on a varsity team, to be on the club team, it's a culmination of high schools where kids
Right.
want to come out and kind of centrally located, and they form a team there.
I think that's the formula for most of the schools, right, Dale? In fact,
Yeah.
I think even on your Newport News side, you had the actual schools, and then you kind of formed them in the.
So we put it into Hampton and Newport News, which I think would be better because when you have too many schools, you can't get enough people at each one, so you have to start off with 2 sections, and then eventually you can spread out and possibly make another one off of them, if you get what I'm saying, like branch. Because if you get too many to start with, like 6 or 7, then you're going to have 12 to 16 at each one of them schools. Then if you just do Hampton, Newport News, you can get up to 35 to 40 at each one of them.
And it's better to keep the high school. Really, if you're a men's team trying to make high school succeed, you almost want to keep them under your umbrella. You don't want to at this point, because those players will feed into your upper level team at some point if they stick around.
Right.
And if they're just Denby High School, then they have no allegiance to Newport News. What Newport News do they know? Right. So I think all the areas would be wise to kind of do that. Let's see what else is going on, Tom. We talked some Major League. We talked some Six Nations. Talk about let me ask you about your Old Navy, your All Navy experience. One time, how was that? How exciting was that for you to be named All Navy? And I think even one time at some point, they came and hoisted you off a ship somewhere to your captain's dismay, right? And go ahead and talk about that, maybe.
Yeah. That's probably my best rugby story ever, man. It's playing All Navy was an honor, man. It was just everything was, you're cloud high in heaven, man. When you're playing out there, you step on that pitch and your military colors and everything. It was just great. But I was down at Columbia, late '90s, early 2000s. Made a big drug bust down there. operating with a small crew on a PC. And we were in Cartagena, and I got a phone call. I came up to the bridge of the boat, and our boat size was 28 people. So I get up to the bridge, and my captain, who was a lieutenant, he's like, "Hey, your coach is on the phone." So I'm like, "Okay." So my coach gets on the phone. He's like, "Where the heck are you?" I said, "I'm in Colombia." He goes, "Well, you're supposed to be here in Florida. You're 2 days late. What are you doing?" I said, "Well, we just made a drug bust, and we pulled into Colombia, and they said they can't let me go because we have no status of forces agreement. It'd be dangerous for me at the airport." He's like, "Oh, this is crap. Let me talk to your captain." I give him my captain. My captain said, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir." Hangs up the phone. He looks at me. He's like, "Hey, man, I was all for you to go. I can't do anything about it. You know, this is needs of the Navy." I said, "I understand. No problem." So I take off, and next morning I'm called up to the bridge again, and he's like, "It's your coach again." I said, "Okay." So my coach was a full bird captain. He's like, "Hey, listen, you're going to be here in a couple days." He says, "I just want to give you a heads up. They're making arrangements right now, so put your captain back on the phone." I said, "Okay." "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir." Right? Hung up the phone, and he looked at me. He says, "I can't believe this." I said, "What?" He goes, "We're getting orders to get underway to transfer you to another small boat that's going to take you to Puerto Limon, Costa Rica, where somebody from the embassy is going to meet you." We pulled into Puerto Limon. I was met by a couple embassy guys, gave me a car ride up to San Jose, waited in a hotel for 2 days at the embassy, everything paid for. And they flew me to Florida to start training camp and play in the inter-service championships, and then head back down later on to Puerto Rico about a month later and meet back up with my command and go finish my tour down there.
That's awesome.
That's
man.
awesome. That's great.
It was great. Yep.
All right, man. That's cool. All right, Tom. We appreciate you joining us tonight, man. We'll catch up with you here in a few weeks after we get some more Major League Rugby games under our belt and follow up on some Six Nations. Man, it would be great to get you on while you're in Ireland on St. Paddy's Day. That's for sure. Maybe we can figure that out. We might be able to figure that out. Get you linked in here on the stream. Okay, Tom. Have a good one, man. Appreciate you coming on.
All right, hey, Steve. Thank you, man. And man, it was always great propping with you. We got a lot of great stories amongst ourselves too, man. So that was great. Dayle, pleasure talking to you again. Tell Johnny Law I say hello, man.
I will. Take care. Take care, sir.
All right, Tom Szuch, everyone, from California. So that was great, man. That was good. That was a lot of fun.
That was nice. That was nice. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and take one last break, and then we'll come back. We'll do a Down on the Farm segment. We'll get some more old boys rugby talk.
Yeah.
We'll get a little bit more Newport News action as well. See what else we can come up. We'll come up with a couple picks too for the games in Major League Rugby this weekend, actually, as well. I got one game I think I like. We'll try to go to 3-0 on the season. Dayle, how about that? And they do have point spreads on these games, people. They don't have any live lines now, but they came out last week on Thursday. So I'm going to assume that will be the case again this week, is you can actually get betting lines on these games if you want to go that route on Thursday. So look for those if you have anywhere that has legal wagering. Okay, we'll be back right after this.
We'd be all right in the middle of the night, going down together. If I were the merry kind, which thank the Lord I'm not, sir. The kind of man that I would be a referee, sir. I'd blow hard, she'd blow hard, we both blow hard together. We'd be all right in the middle of the night, blowing hard together.
Hey, does your home have algae or stains on the siding? Is there grime built up on your deck or brick patio? Coastal Pressure Washing Services has a warranty of professional services. From pressure washing to window cleaning to deck and fence staining, as well as dryer vent cleaning, you got it all. Call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net. Again, call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net.
Tired of your swimming pool's diatomaceous earth pool filter? the constant cleaning, green pool, cloudy water. I thought this was supposed to be clean. Trust your swimming pool's water quality with a custom sand filter install. A clean, easy solution for your swimming pool operations. Contact Dependable Solutions at 757-354-5517. Do you want to advertise with Deep End Broadcasting? Send us an email at deepend757@yahoo.com. That's deepend757@yahoo.com.
Know your gambling limits. Don't ever bet what you can't cover. Wagering on sports is only fun when you do it the right way. Not every bet will win. When you get on a bad run, know it and avoid trouble. Know your gambling limits.
Control your alcohol. Don't fight. Don't drink and drive. Your one punch could kill someone. It happens. If you're behind the wheel, you may think you are fine, but then the other driver is under the influence of texting, and then you are done. Control your alcohol.
Family owned and operated, CP Shucker's Cafe and Raw Bar specializes in delicious cuisine, refreshing drinks, and a laid back atmosphere. We opened our doors in 1995 and have enjoyed being a place to either relax or celebrate ever since. Whether you are in the mood to indulge in a great meal with your friends and family or watch the game, we promise that our inventive menu, attentive service, and skilled bartenders will have you truly satisfied. Both of our locations have spacious outdoor patios for enjoying the breeze and catching a little sun. Our friendly staff at CP Shuckers will make your next dining experience a pleasant one by delivering personal care. We are open until 2 a.m. Full menu will be served until 10 p.m. and late night limited menu until 1 a.m. For larger parties, please give the location of choice a call. Pacific Avenue, 757-425-8676 or Shore Drive, 757-412-2929. More information at cpshuckers.com. Thank you for your continued support and have a shuckin' good time. Tired of your swimming pool's diatomaceous earth pool filter? The constant cleaning, green pool, cloudy water? I thought this was supposed to be clean. Trust your swimming pool's water quality with a custom sand filter install. A clean, easy solution for your swimming pool operations. Contact Dependable Solutions at 757-354-5517.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
If I were the marrying kind, which thank the Lord I'm not, sir, the kind of man that I would be a rugby fullback. I find touch, she find touch, we both find touch together. We'd be alright in the middle of the night, finding touch together. If I were the marrying kind, which thank the Lord I'm not, sir, the kind of man that I would be a wing three-quarter.
That's funny.
This is Initiate the Contact. I am Stephen Murray with the coach Dayle Runner, head coach of Newport News Rugby, who has a big game against Rappahannock Saturday. And this is our Down on the Farm segment that we like to wrap the show up with. So let's get to that. Let's go back down on the farm. How about that, Dayle? Let's talk about actually your game a little bit this week. Rappahannock is a very good Division II team, and that's one of the fun things is for a team like yourself, who's a Division III team, who's actually trying to go to the Division II, is these are the teams that you need to be playing, and you need to get a good measuring stick of where you're at with. When you play a team like Rappahannock, who's very good, you can assume that they're going to be physical, they're going to be fast, they win their share of games for sure. So you guys got your hands full, but you've mentioned this on the shows before too. At the end of the day, there's going to be only a smidgen of difference between some of these Division III and Division II teams. In a lot of cases, the D3 teams are going to be better than a lot of the D2 teams out there. In fact, with the Falcons back in the day as a D3 team, we actually were making a living beating Division I teams at one point. So talk about that, having a real good quality opponent, how important that is for your first game and for your team, and just in general for other coaches out there when they're trying to get their schedules. Instead of putting some cupcakes on the schedule, it's good to put these kind of harder teams on there, right?
Yes, sir. So, yeah, when we made the schedule for the spring, Mark Fisher, he's my match secretary. I told him I wanted some tough games. So we're going to have Rappahannock, we're going to have Western Suburb, and Seventh River on our schedule this spring.
Those are all teams I would try to regularly schedule myself
Right.
when I was a match secretary. Go ahead.
Of
Yeah.
course, because one, you're not going to get better by playing lesser opponents. Okay. So my goal when I took over a team last March 1st was to make us competitive to start with. So I had to do some inner thought stuff to get our team mentally prepared to play these players, because a lot of guys at first probably didn't believe what I was telling them. So because they've never played rugby. It was like 15 guys that had never played rugby. So they're like, yeah, man, whatever Dale's saying, he's crazy, man. We're getting waxed by 30. So the first 4 games, we got spanked. Okay, then we won our last 2 in the spring. So it started coming together. And the guys were like, well, man, why did we lose them the first time? And that's the whole thing I was trying to get across to them. So I preach. I say this, and I'm going to say it a million times, and I know you got some guys out there know this rugby law, know this New Zealand rugby drill, know this South African thing, how England plays rugby, all that. That's fine and dandy if you're at that level, but that doesn't have nothing to do with Division III level. So when I schedule these teams, I've watched them play. I watched how we lost to these teams. So me as a head coach, I look at how these teams beat us. So I have to make the adjustments with my team to be able to compete with these teams and possibly beat them. So I had to get my team in better shape. So our whole point in every practice is conditioning. We're always moving. If we're talking, like if I'm talking to the team, they're jogging in place. If anybody's out of line, we drop down, do this, do that, da. We're always moving, no standing around. So we got to be in shape. To play a higher division level, if you're not in shape, you can get smoke checked, because they're going to be better fundamentally, more than likely. So what I have to do is get everybody in shape and then teach correct positioning, like defense, flatline defense, post and pillar, fullback wings rotating properly, that kind of thing, and then the tackling aspect. And then the rest of that stuff off of, whatever you run in your forwards or your backs, plays, this, that, and the other, that's fine and dandy. But if you don't have those initial 3 things I talked about, your team will not be successful. So what we're going to do and apply this for this Saturday's game against Rappahannock. They got Tyler Stevenson and the boys up there. They got like 3 teams, man. So they're doing a great job of keeping people coming out. So we're going to play them guys, and we're going to go at them full steam. And we're a much improved team than what you played us last spring. Seems like y'all are a little bit better also. So we're going to come up there and we're going to be ready to play. We're coming to our place in Newport News Saturday at 1 o'clock over at Crittenden Middle School, which is at 6158 Jefferson Avenue. Anybody wants to come over and watch a good rugby game, it'll be at 1 o'clock against Rappahannock. And then we're going to play CNU in a B-side game. So all my brand new players and a few veterans will mix it up. So back in the day, we always played A and B side, all of us did. So my younger players, if I ask you to go on the pitch, they're going to go on the pitch, or they possibly could get benched the next game unless they're injured. I have a law about my 40 guys that are 40 years and over. But if you're under the age of 40, unless you got severe injuries, you better be wanting to get on that pitch, or you're going to be replaced. Because the only way we're going to get better is time on the pitch. My goal at Newport News, first off, is to win the D3 South title. So this game this week is more like a scrimmage. Then we got 3 matrix games. We got Virginia men at Virginia. We got Blackwater home, and we got Virginia men at home. If we win those 3 games, then we're going to play Virginia men again in the D3 South playoff. And if we win that, okay, then we're going to go up and play the regional. Play. I think it's going to be back. I think it's North Bay up in Jersey. We're going to be playing them or Loudon. I can't remember which one it is. If we win that, we go to regionals in Richmond. That's at the end of April. And then after that, I don't know where the national title is. You know what I'm saying? And then we're going to play, probably going to play Western Suburb in a B-side game on the Blackwater game. And then we're going to play Severn River in May 6th. And then May 20th, as I call it, Mr. Easy's Old Boy Young Guns match. We play it every May. I've been doing it for 20 years now about. So we get everybody over the age of 35 and everybody under. Anybody that's out there that has nothing going on that Saturday, if you're over the age of 35, come on down and get some Old Boys action. Excuse me, I got a little bit of sinus deal going on. But so Newport News Rugby, you know, I'm the head coach and president. If you have nothing to do, you got anybody out there that's not doing anything that lives over in a peninsula, okay, or out in Isle of Wight, you know, Williamsburg, whatever, come play for us. Okay, I'm looking at big things. I'm looking at trying to win a national title first. And then secondly, I'm looking to move up to Division II and conquer that level. So, Steve, I'm trying to do all this. I got to do a lot of work off-site as well as head coaching. Thank God I got Johnny Long for backs and Mark Fisher for the forwards, and which helps me out a great deal. It takes a lot of pressure off me as doing everything.
Let me ask you this. Win or lose, how important is for your team to stay together after this game and, not go away? You know, for instance, let's talk about the rugby party after the game. Everyone knows what the rugby party is if you played the game. But the rugby party is a little different if you lose. What's the importance of that team all coming together still for that party, win or lose? No one goes home, no one sulks, no one cries. We must kind of look forward type of dealio. I think that's very underrated. I think our team would do a lot better, and we got along a lot better when we stuck together through the thick and the thin. Talk about that a little bit. Don't give up so easy on the rugby party if you have a bad day, right?
Yes, sir. So I take every game, regardless if it's a scrimmage or a regular season game. Doesn't matter who we play. I take it as you win all. If we do lose, I'm going to come out with the positive part of the game. And then in the practice, I'm going to bring up the stuff, the reasons why we lost the game. And we're going to bring everybody together because rugby socials are so good to get everybody together. And everybody can vent at the rugby party, say, in a good way, say, man, I did this wrong. I need to do this better. Man, I need to do this, like that. So all the players can get together, chat from both sides, and say what you did right, wrong, or indifferent. So what that does is you learn different facets of the game at the social, not just to drink up or eat food or where this guy lives or that guy lives or how many family members he's got. But somebody can bring something up, and you could take that with you to the practice pitch the next week and for future reference. So that's what that's really good about. And I do pretty well at that as far as keeping my team in a good cohesiveness, for better words. I want everybody to know that we still have the same goal. We ain't gonna worry about that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's all great stuff, man. So down on the farm segment, any more about the old boy stuff you want to go ahead and throw out there?
No, I just want to say, a couple of things. I want to give some congratulations to a couple of guys that I've played with forever. Obviously, Johnny Law, if he never recruited me, we wouldn't be playing. I wouldn't be playing. So I always give out to John. He's played in every tournament with me. We fuss, fight, argue, but we're best friends on the pitch, this, that, and the other, and then we get along. He don't agree with everything I say. I don't agree with everything we say, but at the end of the day, me and John come together and win one thing. George Fasella. This is the man that keeps Newport News Rugby running. This guy has done so much for us, and I've played 30 years with George. The guy's in incredible condition, can run all day at 61. Love George. He's done so much for everybody. Everybody, whoever knows George knows what he does for people. some people that I never really played with until I played all boys. I want to reach out to them. Tatanka, Matt, you're one of the great rugby players of this thing. You played 42, 43 years. I appreciate playing old boys with you. Colonel, Sweeto, always a pleasure. Unfortunately, John By can't play anymore because he has certain health issues that won't allow him. And really, they're the main ones because they are at every tournament that I've ever played at. And they keep my head on a swivel because anybody ever knows me playing athletics, I get a little antsy here and there and I get a little upset here and they keep me in line. You know what I'm saying? So we all have our thing with that. So I want to say congratulations to all those certain old boys that I've played with forever. And I hope we continue that. And I'll play as long as my legs will let me. And I'm a coach as long as the Newport News players allow me to coach and vote me in to be president. I'll do that as long as they want me to. I just need players to come out, and I'll coach us to win it all.
All right, man. That's great. All right, good stuff there with all that, Dayle. That's the Down on the Farm segment. So we'll go ahead and we'll call it a night tonight. We had a full week of rugby practice and games ahead, Dayle, so
Yes,
we'll save our energy for that. But that's pretty good. About an hour and a half tonight here on the show. We want to thank Tom Szuch for his long conversation with us.
Yes.
Major League Rugby, just 5 games on the slate. DC and Chicago off this week, Dayle. So bye weeks already in Major League Rugby.
Bye weeks. Week in rugby.
Just in week 2. Just in week 2. I'll go ahead and give a pick. Like I said, if you want some point spreads, look for the lines tomorrow. We went 2-0 last week with wins. We took Atlanta and we took Houston to beat Dallas. So we'll call that a nice 2-0 on our picks, Dayle. I think we can give you one pick this week. I have no idea what the point spread is, but we'll go ahead and look for New York to get their first win at home against Toronto, who is going to play game 2 of 6 on the road here in the road, Dayle. If you remember, we talked about them.
They're gonna be dragged out all year. They're gonna be dogged out. With that road
right. So the wears and tears of being on the road maybe wears on them earlier. New York can get the rebound here. Toronto did play hard to close out the game with Atlanta, and it is a good slate. Atlanta and Seattle should be a good both teams showed good defense. That's your opener Friday night. Dallas and Utah both hungry for wins. So one of those teams should get a win. Maybe they draw. NOLA and Houston, competitive, especially regionally. Toronto and New York is that game Sunday. We'll take New York in that, like we said. And then a really good game, too, is New England and San Diego. Tom said he liked the San Diego team and what they've had to offer so far. So we'll get some more Tom Szuch down the road. We'll wish Coach Dayle a good rest of the week. We'll go ahead and get on out of here. Remember, all of your Major League Rugby games are on the Rugby Network. Download the app. The games are for free. And on Fox Sports 2, you get the NOLA and the Houston game, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. All right, so we'll go ahead and get on out of here. Good luck this weekend, Dayle.
Thank you very much.
We're going to have to bring the show on the road for a Saturday pregame broadcast, one of these games, I think. How about that?
Oh, it'd be great.
I think we can do that down the road. So we'll appreciate you tuning in to initiate the contact. For the Coach Dayle Runner, I am Stephen Murray. We are out of here. Good night, everyone.
Great show. Thank you, buddy.
I fight tight, she fight tight, we both fight tight together. We'd be alright in the middle of the night, fighting tight together. If I were the marrying kind, which thank the Lord I'm not so, the kind of man that I would be a big lump forward. I'd go down, she'd go down, we both go down together. We'd be alright in the middle of the night, going down together. If I were the marrying kind, which thank the Lord I'm not, sir, the kind of man that I would be a referee, sir. I'd blow hard, she'd blow hard, we both blow hard together. We'd be alright in the middle of the night, blowing hard together.